This is IT Beast, and we are into our first topic of today, which is creating a Node API using Express, Sequelize, MySQL, and it can be used further for your any kind of real-time projects where you will be needing any kind of API that you have to build. So, before going into the topic, we will see what kind of steps that we need in order to complete this particular topic. First of all, we have to install Node on our system. Node is just a simple software, a runtime software that is used to run JavaScript on the server side. It will be not more than 5 minutes, and after that we will see what is npm, and then we will see what is express and how we can install it on our system, its basics, and then we will go towards model configurations for any kind of API that we will be building, and then we will see how to create a basic thread for any particular API. So after that, your project will be ready. You can replicate both of all of these steps in order to create different APIs for different models and entities inside your system. So let's go on. So for installing Node.js onto your system, you just need to go to this link. I will attach it in the description, and you can just download it for your particular operating system. So if I am using Windows, I will just click it and it will be downloaded. I will not be installing it because I have already into my system. You will just have to do next, and it will be installed on your system. Or the better way to run Node on your system is just go here, right, and see the exe file or any executable file for npm. Npm stands for Node Version Manager. Okay, so for that purpose you have to go here in this link and find its msi or executable file. I will just have to go into, yes, here you have to go. You just have to click this download now button, and it will take you to the particular latest version of that npm, and after that you will download any one of them which may be executable, and then if it is downloaded into your system like this, you will go to that particular file like npm, and you will extract it, and you will just run it, and it will be downloaded on your system. After running it on your system, you will go to your particular terminal, and here you can see if npm is installed or not using by writing npm. Yes, it is installed. Its version is 1.1.7, and then you can see how many versions I can manage through this. I'm currently working on 12.0.0, and similarly I can add a new version of Node and then use it on runtime. So that's how we can use npm, and after that you can follow both of these steps. Like, you can use this one or you can use this one, it's up to you. And after that we will go to npm. What is npm and what how it works actually? So for going into the depth of Node, you need to know what is npm. As you know, I have just downloaded npm and it has installed Node on my system. I must have this npm already installed along with Node. As you can see, I haven't installed npm specifically, but npm comes with Node as a package manager which you can use in order to create your applications and manage your applications. So for creating a basic Node application, what you can do is you can just go to a particular directory where you want to create it. For example, I want to create it in G. I will just go to G, right, and after that I will go to my related folders. For example, I'm creating it inside my learning folder. Okay, and if I go to Node, I will just create it into my Node folder like that. Then so after going to my desired folder, I have created a test app. Okay, and inside my test app I have created a new npm. So after going to my desired folder, I will just create a new directory which is specifically named according to my desire. Like, I am creating a test application, right, like this. I will go to the test application, right, and I can use npm. Npm is my package manager. I will initialize this particular folder as my npm npm pack, as my node, or you can say as my npm code or npm application. I will initialize it by using this. It will take some of the props, like if you want to change the name, you can write it here. The version, description, entry point, anything. It's just the basics. We can discuss it in the further videos. Now as you can see, the new application is created. If I open this code into my VS Code, as you can see, package is created. You will just start working on it, like creating an index file here like this. You will just create a log here like this, and you will just log hello. So if I create open my terminal here and run this using my command of node, as node is already installed, and then write index.js, as you can see node is running. Similarly, if you want to use your node mon here, it will automatically get your main file as you have already mentioned. So it's just the basics. As we can have a new lecture, and if you guys want, you can just comment it, so we can have a complete tutorial on basic node.js, but we are not working on that right now, so we will just pass on that. Ignoring this, we will go back to our agenda. That what we need to work on is, now we have to install express into our system as a running application, as we have to build our API on it. So we are going back here into node and going back to our root folder of node and removing our current test application folder. I will close it so that it, or is it, it is already closed, so it will remove it. As you can see, now there is only one application that I'm currently working on, so I'll create another application for your purpose. So first of all, you guys have to see how I'm working here. npm is a node package manager. If I go to Chrome and search for express is a package that provides basic facility, sorry for that, that provides basic facility for you to create a robust application, which can be a front end as well, but as a back end, but it will be served on server side because it's a server side framework. So you can just install express on your system, express generator. So in order to use express generator, you have to specifically write here express generator. Now command, which means that you will be installing a package named express generator in order to run specific express commands for creating your application. So I will just write here npm install what our application name is, express, right, dash generator, and but at the start of it we will add -g, which means it's a global package. It's not like consist inside any particular repository. It will be globally accessible, so I will just install it like this. It will take some of your seconds, and after that there's a command which is express command. Now the express is already installed. You can check it by using this particular command. Now for after that, what we'll do, we'll install our first application. For view is just rendering for a particular view onto your application. As we are not building a front-end application in express, we can either skip it or we can just add it using the basic bug view, that is bug view handler that it use, and then you will add your node API folder that in which you want your express application to be installed. Now it is installed. As you can see, you will go to your node application by adding it like this. Now I will open this express application that is being created using express generator. As you can see, it consists of some of the basics that we will go through one by one. First of all, it has a package JSON in which the node API name is already added through our current name. You can change it afterwards. And then there is a version. You can change it to, for example, 1.0.0. For example, it's the first version of your application. And then you will just add private to. It's just a basic parameter for the privacy of the application. And then there is a scripts command. Inside the script command, you can add further, but this is the basic one. And there are the set of dependencies that this application use. For example, there is a dependency named express, which is the main one. As you can see, express is already installed in it. Key parser, debug, http errors, and furthermore we can discuss one by one. But for now, our first aim is to run the application. If I add node app.js, it will not run because we have not installed a node modules. What are node modules? Node modules are the actual files for these dependencies which this application requires. So I have done it intentionally. I have just run it like node app.js. Now for installing these dependencies, I will write npm install, which means that these dependencies will be installed in a folder here. As you can see, it's taking some time, and then you can see a node module folder is created along with all those packages that are needed for these, and further those packages which are inside these packages as a dependency, and we don't know which are they. As you can see, the number of dependencies are only 5 to 6 here, but the package number is too much because these packages in themselves are quite big and they have further dependencies. So all of those are coming here in the node modules. And then if I write node app.js, it will just run it and close it because I am not running it in a proper way. Now express comes with the basic bin directory where it is bootstrapping its application. So we have to write node bin www. So it will do it like this. Port 3000 is already in use because I was working in another project. I will just close it, and I will again use my node bin www command. And now after that, you can see it will be in a running state like this. If I go to my localhost 3000, it will give me express. Welcome to express. So this is what we were aiming. We were just trying to run express as our basic framework, and that's what we have achieved here. Now we are moving to our next step, but moving to the next before moving to the next step, we will be discussing express in a little bit of detail so that you have complete understanding what express is and how it is working. So for that, what we are doing here, we will be doing files one by one. I am closing all of them. Package JSON is almost already covered. Package log JSON is a log file created over the package JSON once you run your npm install command. It is done in order to maintain the versions of the packages or the dependencies used in this file. So you can you know read it out on the internet. It's not a big concept. It's just locking those particular package or dependencies into another log.json so that if someone changes from here, our track is already here. And after that, we will move to our app.js file. We will do it one by one. So in first of all, in order to know about this, you have to have a little bit of knowledge on the node.js. For adding a node.js application, you always try to create a server and all that. It depends upon your requirements. Now as we are running an api, we will be needing a server, and express has already done it for us. For example, if I go to express, and then if I go to that particular bin www file that is further being using this app inside it, and it is creating an http server for us, where it is creating here. As you can see, http is a dependency that has already been installed, or you can say that is native of node.js, because it is not coming from this dependency. So it means that node natively has this dependency, and you can just use it like this. For example, file system is also a native dependency. File system, I will write down a link of it so that you can read out what are natives and what are the third parties. So all of these are the third parties dependency, and http is a native dependency, and it has express has done a quite fantastic job for us, that it has created already a server for us like this. So how it works is, just ignore this one. It creates an instance of http here like this, and out of http it there's a function named create server, and it gives you the complete application object, or you can say a complete application function, which is provided into the create server, and then the server is created, and on the server there is a function where you have to add your port number, and then on the server you can have error and as well as on listening callbacks that you can utilize in future. And similarly you can have this normalized port function used, but currently we are just focusing on this first part. Just we don't go below because it will be more complex for you guys. And before going to further, we will read out now app. Now this app is exported from here and used here for bootstrapping. Initially it was now not like that, but now express is using this behavior. So it's not up to us, it's just the framework basics, so you have to cope up with it. Now going to the next step, what we are doing here, we are first creating an application instance using express basic required, what you can say, express basic required package. That's how it works actually. So what we are doing here is we are just viewing this express, how it is working. Express is just required from our main express third-party library that is creating a complete application instance. And onto that application instance, as you can see, you are adding middlewares. These are the app level middlewares. These are the app level middlewares. You can go and read out about the express middlewares here. For example, express middlewares, if I write it here, you can see there is a lot of information about it on express application like this. So here you can see there are different kinds of middlewares. Now we are just working on app level middlewares that are called on your app instance. For example, if you have to give your static path for your assets inside your views, you will just do it like this. Similarly for your viewing, setting your view engine, that's how you do it. And similarly using a logger or using any express JSON conversion or any encoding or any kind of parsing or any kind of further static path implementation. And similarly what you can do is you can use this app.use middleware to catch the routes and send it to your particular route files. That's how the things will work. We will further discuss these two, but currently we are just going through every one of them. And similarly what we are doing, we are catching errors here like this. And similarly what we are doing here, we are catching 500 errors which are quite fatal here. So this is what basic app object is working, and then exporting here and then being bootstrapped in this www file. So that's how things are working. And if we go to package.json, here the start command is node dot slash bin slash www. So it's not accessing the address directly, it's going here and then running this code in order to run this application. After that, we will not go to the view file as we are not discussing any kind of front end here. So we will directly go to our routes file. Here there is a route file. Now if we go to app.js, here it means that after adding a slash here, it will go to index router, and if after slash there is a user's key, it will directly go to the user's router. So for example, if I go here on our get, because both of them are just get request as you can see here. So I'm using my browser, I'm not using Postman right now. So if I directly give it a go, it will obviously, oh sorry for that, I have to run before doing this thing. So directly accessing it, it will give me this express and welcome to express. So let me prove how it is working. If you give your basic route, it will go to your index router, and after going to your index router, as you can see, it is rendering this index file, and this index file is or is in views. So in order to remove this confusion, I am deleting this views folder here directly. Okay, and I am just returning it something from here, result dot sending a JSON here like it's working. Okay, and its key would be status like this. So if I click it again, okay, because I have removed the views folder already. What I believe that I should not be using this view anywhere in the project. Okay, so inside here I am using this view particular files. So I am again running my application and going back here. As you can see, it is working status, it's working. So it means that I am excluding any kind of view out of my application because it is solely backend application. So I'm removing all of that stuff. Now, if you go again to your other route, which is user router, we will discuss each and every aspect of it, but for now I am just giving you a basic knowledge. So router.get, what it is we will obviously discuss, but on the user's basic route, for example, if I write here users and give it a go, it will give you this particular string which is respond with a resource. So that's how these two middlewares are giving you the your basic routes, and that are very crucial. We will be using this as our entry point in our application, so keep in mind that we will be using it a lot. So route files are those that are entertaining each and every route of your application. So this is how things work here actually. And in public, it's all the static files, and for the front end we will not discuss it. And there's a node module, already discussed all of the module and this main folder. So that's how we conclude our basic express.js understanding. Now, moving on to the next step, we have to configure our basic models, but I am adding another like understanding. Okay, I am adding it on runtime, understanding basic routes system before doing your next step. So that is very crucial for our course.
So guys, as you all know that our main application is working fine. As we can see, it's working on its basic status, and we have added some of the routes too. And first of all, we, in order to make a complete API, we will go by some kind of structure changing. If we go here and go to our Postman, okay, now in order to check, but for now I'm just testing, so I will just write it down, localhost like this, and our port is 3000. If we hit it, it is giving us the status, and on here if we see, there is, I think so, further there is no error. That error occurs when you go to your browser and it tries to get the favicon as a front page of your application. Okay, so it's not a big deal. We just have to cope up with that if you are using a browser in order to call your basic route, so don't worry about that. Now, moving forward, what I will be doing, I will be following a structure named model view controller structure, and that consists of three layers. First of all, there is a route layer, and then there is a controller, and then there is a model layer. So in order to create first of all controllers, I will create folder named controllers. Sorry for typing. Okay, so there is a controller complete folder that you will be using in order to create your basic controllers. For example, for every entity you might need a controller. For example, there are further two routes right now. Okay, so I will be creating two different controllers here. One would be user dot js, and the other one would be new file, and it would be index.js. Now what the use of this file would be, that our complete logic of handling the request would be gone into the controllers, and this route folder will only be used just to cater all of your routes. There are different techniques that you can do, but what I am doing here, I will be requiring only one of this one file here that is been exporting all of the routes in our app.js. How we will do that, we will just see. Now, in order to work a little bit fast, I will just copy and paste this users content on the top and index content in the index file on controllers folder, and I will save it and I will close it. We will go back to here. Now in these two files there are these controllers replication, so I will just delete users file from here, and what I will do here is I will use this index file as a route index file. Okay, so it means that I will be using this router index file as a main file or main entry point where our all routes will be written. For example, if I want to add home controller here, or you can say index controller, let me change it to home because that makes more sense. Now index is nothing as we are naming it properly, so home would be more, will be creating more sense. Okay, so it is a home controller, you want to create its instance here, so I will create a constant here and I will require my, like this. Okay, if I go to one folder behind, go to my controllers and then go to my home control. Okay, so it will give you your main instance, or you can say home controller instance, and similarly you can create another instance for your users controller instance. Okay, users controller, and you will just write here user, so you don't need to write .js, and it will always understand your intention while you are doing this, and then you will completely export module, a module from here. Okay, that is requiring application inside it because we are using an app inside all of the routes that we are declaring like this. Okay, so we will just cut it out from here and paste it here, and I will just remove it from here. Similarly, I will remove these two inclusions here. Okay, so that's what we will do. We will be exporting our routes from here. Okay, as we are doing it here, so we will just include this file, and how we will do that I will tell you in further steps. So first of all, what you need here is you just need to import, or you can see you just need to require that index file here, like this. These are the routes, or you can even say var const, it depends upon your needs, so it's not a big deal using var or const here. So what I will do here, I will just add var as it is the practice right now, and we are, as we need it globally, so I will do it var, and then I will be creating my routes instance. Okay, you can name it anything because we are naming, we are not specifying any export from here, we are to completely exporting a complete module from there. So I will write it right here, require. Okay, and with the same practice I will go to my routes folder. Okay, and index. Okay, and in this case you might not need to write the index here, and here you were creating those where you were creating those routes, you just write here routes as it is importing from top, and you will give an app parameter as it needs that parameter. And if you go to this, and it will requires you a complete app parameter in order to use it. So I will run it again just for not pin ww. I think so there is some error. The error here is in here. What we are doing, we are just assigning this controller to these routes. Okay, because it is the same practice that it was done on app level, now it is doing, we are doing it here, and we have changed the name, so we have to provide these two controllers here. Now if you can go again and run it, it will be running happily. And then if I go to my browser again, it will do the same thing, only the difference is we have created a better file structure where we are expecting our routes to handle the request and load those desired controllers as needed. Okay, so that's what we are doing right now. I hope that is not too complex, and if you have any questions you can post in your comments. So after changing the file structure, we will be focusing on this controller thing, what it is and what we need, why we need this controller here. So in order to separate these two, we have to create another folder named controller, and these controller are, from their name, they control the request. They get the request, they do some logics here, small logics, not too complex. It might be thin, and here we can use our models. Okay, use models here as desired, create any mappings as desired, and then we can response from here. Okay, so that's what we can do here. You can use our models here, do any kind of mappings or any logics. Okay, and then response back to our user. So it's kind of a main thing that you should have knowledge about. After that, uh, we will go to configuring. Okay, Sequelize in Express. Okay, but before that, you should have MySQL installed in your system. Okay, so for that, what we will do here is we will go through this step first, that you should have MySQL already installed. So in order to do so, you have to go to, if you are using Ubuntu or any other operating system, you can just go install MySQL in Ubuntu. Okay, similarly, that can be available for your Mac operating system too, but that is pretty easy. You can just go and follow some steps using any of these links. I will attach the best link out of it, and you can use that. For now, I am using Windows. I have already installed XAMPP control panel, and I have already MySQL installed. I will just open it, start it. It will be running on its default port, and then I can use any of my tools. That might be Microsoft Workbench. I am using SQL Yog right now, so I will just run it like this. Oh, it might take some time. Yes, now I have already created my local connection. So here you can create a new database and all that stuff. You can this is my old users table that I was working in my other projects, so that's how you can use it. Now going back to our agenda, we need to have MySQL installed. As we have done, I can create a new video for that, don't worry about that. MySQL is pretty easy to install. So after that, you need to configure Sequelize. So first of all, we will have a small introduction to what the Sequelize is and how it works. So first of all, we should know that Sequelize is a promise-based Node.js ORM for Postgres, MySQL, and MariaDB. So it's pretty easy to install it into your application and run it. So in order to install in your application, what you need here, you will just npm install. Okay, and what you should do here is you will just use save flag, because this will save it in your package json too, but nowadays it is not required to do so, because it do it automatically. So I will just write its name here, and I will install it directly. Okay, if we go to its latest documentation, you can see Sequelize the promise-based Node.js ORM, as we have already discussed, and it is supports Node semantic versioning on Node version 10 and above, and you're currently looking at tutorials. Okay, so this is how a simple model can be written, where user have only two attributes, and then you can query on that using your basic user dot create function in order to add a user. So this is just one example. You can just go through one by one. I will attach links as far as we go. So if we are on our basics, first of all we have to install our Sequelize, and then the next step is depend upon what you are using. What we are using right now, we are using MySQL, so we have to install MySQL 2 package into it. Why MySQL 2? Because it's just a name, you don't have to worry about it. You have to add 2 at the end, because it's the latest package. And then after doing that, what is required from the side is to start connecting to your database. That is your first entry point, where you need to be sure that your database connection is okay, right? And you are good to go, and you are good to go for working. So in order to test the basic connectivity, I will just write some code here that will not be a part of our application afterwards, but in order to understand, we have to do it so we can CQU, okay, in order to understand our basic requirements. So I will just require my Sequelize module here directly, okay. That all will be passed to our in a database folder, but now we are just understanding the stuff, so it's not a big deal in order to add it here. So what we will do here, we will create constant here like this, and we will call it a sequelize constant, which will be equal to the new instance, like it's just a class that is being imported from there. And you will provide four parameters: one, two, three, and four. The first parameter would be, so the first parameter would be our database name. What our database name is, we need to create a database here first of all in order to get its name. I will create a new database. My name would be GS API. Okay, I can write it here, node slash API, and I will create a database with its name. Okay, so I will just write down here node dash API. The second parameter would be our user. So what I'm here using, I will just check what I'm using as a user. So yeah, my user is root, like this, and my password is empty. I have not added any password right now. And at the end, what I believe the last one is the complete object, actually, where you will provide your host first of all. Okay, your host would be obviously localhost in my case, and at the end, you will add a dialect. What dialect means, that what kind of DB you are using. Currently we are using MySQL actually, so we will just add here MySQL directly. Okay, so just MySQL. And after that, sorry for that, let me close all the tabs so that we don't have any confusions. I will close others like this. And now, instead of you know directly using it here, we will remove it obviously, but we are doing it just for our sake of our convenience. Now, in order to run it, I will just create a try catch here so that it doesn't give any fatal errors. So it doesn't give any fatal errors. Now I will create a self calling function, as you guys may already knew about that. And what it will do, it will do an async task in order to connect with it. I will create an async task here, which is a function. Okay, and in this function, what I will do, I will await for our sequelize dot authenticate function like this. Okay, and while doing it, I believe that I have to, you know first of all, I have to check whether it gives me any error or not. In order to do so, I will create a catch function like this, dot catch. Okay, and there is an error here like this. And in order to log this error, I will just write log error. Okay, and if this doesn't happens, obviously it will go to our next line, obviously inside our try, that would be logging it here. For example, you want to add connection has established. Okay, now, and similarly, we will add error here, which is coming out of our catch, and here what we can write is unable to connect. Now if I save it and give it a go again, so it is giving us connection as established. So what we have done right now is we have just connect with our local database, and we have get our message which is connection is established. And similarly, what you can do is you can do this connectivity based on your need. when you are needing it, you will connect your application and you will start queuing through it. So this is just how you test your connection. You can write, comment this out in order to run your application again without this connection. So in order to do it properly, what we will do is we will start creating our basic connectivity file inside a folder named models, because model is where our basic model will reside for every kind of entity that are the database model. So what we will do here, we will create a new folder like this. Okay, and I will call it models. Okay, so inside models I will create an index file like this .js. Okay, and then what I need to do is, first of all, I need to create this particular connection here in this file. I will remove it from here. Okay, and use this load my particular models. So that is the main thing that we need to do. So before doing that, what we need here is to create first of all any kind of model, and then after creating model we can load those models here and do their connectivity with our databases. So before doing this thing, we will move to our model system. What is model? So for every entity unit number, for example, we have a user in our you know application, and user should have their own model. So I will write user.js as our model file. Sorry for that. I will, it should be a file, not be a folder. So I will just write down here new file. I will write down as user.js. And to create a model, it's pretty simple. You just need to create the basic class structure of model that you know Sequelize gives you. So it's just simple class like this, user extends. Okay, it should extends our basic model. And what it is, I will just tell you. This model is coming from, it's a named import, so you have to do this, and it should be requiring our basic Sequelize package. Okay, and this model have basic functions already attached to that will be given that will be utilized in this user model afterwards. Okay, so that's what we are doing right now. And while doing that, you must have to export it like this. So we will provide Sequelize here, Sequelize here. So we are defining this Sequelize as a parameter. Why we are doing it, I will just explain it to you. Because it's depending upon the Sequelize connection that you have already created. So I will just Sequelize with a small s as it is a parameter, and similarly we will be needing data types as a parameter inside this particular model. So I will just create the basic export like this and add this class inside this export module. Okay, so let me change it to my other function. Now this is how you create your basic model. And after creating a basic model, what you can do is you can create a static function. Okay, and you can name it as association, that you it is always already giving you this, and pass your models here, and you can create your associations here if you have any. Okay, we will not be doing it in this series, but we can have a further video on it. So create associations. And similarly, what we are doing, we are initializing our user model inside our basic module. So after this class, we will use this user class as in for initializing our basic model, and it will now contain our basic requirement, which is, for example, for a user you have a first name. Okay, first first name, and the data type should be you know out of the data types that Sequelize provides us. So we can just go here and check what kind of data types are provided by Sequelize. So that's how you can do it. And here they have given you a proper guide where that this data type is only for Postgres, or this is only for SQL, or if it is for both, there is nothing written. So string is for both. Obviously I will write it down here like string. Okay, first name and last name would be data type dot string. Okay, and the next one would be email, data type dot string, and password would be data type dot string. Age would be data type dot number. Most probably it would be, you can just check it from here, it's not a big deal. You can go here, you can just write number, float, real, decimal, or I think so number would be here. So you can just write integer instead of number. Okay, so it's just a different norm you can be using for the integer. And I think so this is enough for now, we can change it afterwards. And after that there is another parameter where you will give your base sequelize as a parameter here, and our module name is, what you can do is you can write down any module name like you, I can write it here you, that will be used as a module name. So we will just create it as it is so that it syncs with our class name. So I will write it down here as a module name. And from here what we are doing now is returning our user class. Now this is a basic model that we have created. Now as you can see, we have created our basic model. Now our next step would be integrating this model for using, you know, and getting the data out of our database. So in order to do so, we have to first do the connection. Now as you can see, we had already some kind of code for our connection string and all that. And for that what we are this part is pretty reusable from what we have done, right? So this part is reusable, the sequelize part, and then this sequelize dot authenticate part is also reusable. We can extract it out from here, use it directly here. Okay, now here I will add further functions which will be used, I'm not using a wait then, so then is allowed here sequelize dot authenticate. Okay, and then we can add our then callback. In that the then callback, I'm just creating another function that is more easy to write instead of this complex thing. So I'm removing all of that stuff and I'm just logging it here, that successful connection to MySQL DB name. I will add name afterwards here. I will just do it in the string literal, so our variable will be used directly without an issue. So name here, our name is currently it's string, so node dash API. I will do it dynamic afterwards by using our env file. So I will write down catch here. Here would be the error like this, and I will just write it down like this here, and I will do same stuff, but unsuccessful error, and it will give us this error too. Now this is a little bit more clear that we were using. As you guys know that while using these models, we can connect one model each with the database one at a time, but this is not what we are doing here. First of all, we need to know that in while working in industry, there are hundreds of models that needs to be connected. So for dynamic connection, we will be requiring some modules. First of all, that is first of all the file module. Okay, as we need to read these files first of all, so I will just write it down, a file module import, that is a file system that is being given to us by node, and then we will require the path module from here. and then we will require our Sequelize module that is already been imported on top. Let me move it on top so that we have clear clarity what we are doing. So at the end we need a base name. What base name is, I will just copying and pasting it here, so I will explain it directly. Now if you can see, there is a base name here. Base name means that what is your base path of this model. So our base path is the index.js here. That is already gives you once you import till this model. So we will not be using this file as a model, so in order to exclude it I am already saving it here. Okay, and at the end I will just create an empty database object. For use of it, you have to wait till I start writing my basic code for the inclusion. Now first of all, using our file system, I will create a read directory sync method. So if it takes time, it will wait for it. And inside it I am giving our directory name. If I can log it here, it will give you our basic directory path, which is till model. So it will start reading our whole directory. Okay, and while looping on it I can filter on it. Okay, I am writing a callback function. The name shouldn't be there. It will have our basic files once it traverses through this complete directory at each at a time. And at the end I am returning from here a filtered file with simple conditions. So the first condition would be the file dot, like file name dot index of, it must contain a dot in it. Okay, so it should not be equal to 0. So this is our first condition. Okay, and similarly our second condition would be, I can just do it like this, because the statements are different. I will just add double and here, and I will write down another condition here, like file should be not equal to our base name. So that's how this base name would be used. And the last condition would be file, so first of all the brackets, file dot slice. Okay, where slice, the last tree should be slice, so I will write down -3 here, should be equal to .js file. So these are the three conditions that will give you proper models. For example, it will not require index in it, and except index it will give all of those files having js at the end. So obviously that would be our case in order to write a model. So this is how it will filter it. And after filter, we can add a for each loop onto that, and create an other callback function. I will tell you why I'm doing so, because in this function what we will be doing is we will be joining our basic model to this database object, because that would be exporting at the end. So what here we are doing, we are creating a model, model is equal to require. So we are requiring dynamically right now, that I was talking about, that we can require one by one. We are requiring each model. And how we can do it, we can use our path variable. What path variable does is it will give you the complete path. Okay, and then you can join that path with your basic file name. Okay, so how you can join, first of all you will give your directory name and then your file name. So it would be like till my node api slash model slash, and then you can write your file name and it will join that actually. So, and inside it, as we all know, that each model requires two parameters, one is sequelize and one is data types. So now what we will do here is we will just go here, and first is the sequelize parameter, simple, that is coming from here. But it won't be that sequelize. First of all you have to clear, it is the connection sequelize parameter. So it is connected to the database seq, and at the end we will give the main sequelize parameter data type param. Okay, so it will have all the data types available. And on the second line what we will do here, we will just write db. Okay, and from our model, sorry, from our model that we are getting on top, we can extract name out of it. Okay, and provide it a complete model that is coming out. So it will create a key named as the model name equal to the complete model that is reusable. Now in order to create any kind of associations, we also need another you know loop that will run on this db like this, and we will write a function, callback function, and it will be giving you obviously the model name that we are traversing on keys of the database, so it will be giving you the model names. So I will write down here if, okay, db, okay, now I will write model name dot associate. For example, if there is any association in here, so what we will do is we will just create db, okay, dot model name, sorry for that, model name dot associate, okay, associate, associate, I will use the proper spelling, associate, and we will provide this db object in here, so it will get all of those uh, you know params that it needs. And at the end what we do is we will just write db dot sequelize, sequ, I will we are creating two different you know keys for our use that might be used like in while you exporting it. db dot sequelize equal to sequelize, and db dot the capital one is the basic one. So now you will just export this db out of it. Now this is the basic template in order to export every model, and I will tell you how you can import into your desired folder and then you can use it. So after excluding exporting the models, what our aim should be is first of all to create the database so that we can start working on our basic CRUD. As we know that there is no tables right now, so in order to create the tables, what we do in the Sequelize is we use migrations. Migrations are basic templates that are given by any kind of ORM that you uses in order to maintain your database. In case of Sequelize, we will be using Sequelize CLI for running these migration commands and creating the migrations. Okay, so first of all you will have to save it here as your dependency so that you have it in your uh, project in order to run the commands. Okay, so first of all you have to do it like this, and then you can use it to create a empty project that we don't use. First of all you have to create a migration. So in order to create a migration you have to create it like this: npx sequelize cli db migrate. You can use this command to run, sorry, not to create them. You That's how you generate it. Here there might be a generate command too. Yeah, so you give your, first of all, so we'll add it like this. So for doing that you must have a migrations folder. Okay, so you can add a migrations folder, and I think so it will run right now. Now you can see inside the model is created automatically, and I will delete this model if you, because it is same, it has no difference in what we have added for here, so it's not a big deal, we can delete it afterwards. And you can see in migrations you have your first migration created. So what it is actually, it creates the database as required inside your database physically. Okay, because physically it is required to have your database, so it is very important that you know these migrations. We can further discuss it in new topics, but for now this is it. Now what we can do here, we can just n npx sequue sequelize dash cli, okay, migration colon, I think so. For running the migrations, that is pretty easy. The command would be simple migration colon db colon migrate. Okay, migrate sequelize like, so db colon migrate. So I don't think so it is working, because have you sequenced. So as you can see, as we attempt to run it, we need some kind of configuration file for this migration too, because this configuration that we have written, it is only for models, so it will not use those configurations. So in order to add any configuration for our migration, I will create first of all a config folder, so that all configurations are sent to it if anything is considered in the near future. But now there is only one config file named config.json. Okay, and here in config.json we will have to replicate the same thing that we need, but for our development. I will just copying and pasting it here, that in development my username is this, my password is this, and my DB name is this, and host name is localhost, and dialect is MySQL. Now, if we create it, run this migrate again, it will automatically go into this config folder and find it out and create our table physically here. If I can refresh it, yes, as we can see now, it will create the database like this. And here what it is, Sequelize meta is the, if you can go to the table, as you can see, this is the migration name that is already been run. So if I run it again like this, it will give me like there is no new migration, because there is a track that which migration is run or not. So this is your Sequelize meta table, and then this is your users table that you have just created. Now we will in the end create the basic CRUD. Our first duty is to verify that this model system works properly or not. I will delete it first of all. Okay, so I don't have any issues, this user is already been working here. Now if I go to my controller and go to users, this is get, for instance, this is get users listing. So I will just, you know, remove my basic code from here, and what I will do here is I will just write down for getting all users a basic query for that. So before that we have to create a constant where we will be importing our models that we will be using. So I will go to my models folder, right, like this, because the index is our main one and we will require it like this. Okay, now inside our constant we will write user user, as it is exported with the name of the model, so it will be capital U. And in here we will use our try catch, and we will use user dot find all, that is a function from Sequelize find all, and we can find all and we can await for it to get the users, and we can store it in the variable, and then we can result.send our data as a JSON to our client. And while doing that we will add next error if there is any kind of error. So hope for the best, I am just adding data here from my hand. So we will have password should be 123 age 12, okay, okay. Now if you can see, I have added a data. If I go and run my application using node one, I think so that might, okay, okay. So for await, you should have your function as an async function. So I will just write down async here, and from here what we are doing, oh, so I think so this is the error, because the name was not Sequelize for SEQ. I just mispronounced it here, so I will write down here, and now you can see things are working again. If I go to Postman and run this localhost 3000 again, it will give me obviously the main thing, and then if I go to users, it will give me the total users that are in database. So it means that our basic connection is done, and we are good to write a basic CRUD for any entity that we want. So our next step would be that we will be writing our basic CRUD where we will be adding, deleting, updating, and getting the data by ID and as a listing too. In order to create our basic user API, and we can now create its CRUD easily. So guys, as we know that we have created our basic setup very efficiently. Now in next step is I am just removing this public folder out of our API that I don't think so we will be needing. Continue. So now what we are doing here, we are just creating a basic CRUD for our user. Okay, so for a CRUD, as we know that first of all you have to create yo. So first of all, I should tell you like how we can use this API tool, which is Postman, in order to run our basic application. So first of all, you create a basic route that is users, obviously, and similarly, you will create another route which would be a post route. The path would be same, right? But it will be containing of a body, like some kind of JSON in it, and this would be our post, like adding the user. That would be listing of the user. Okay, the other URL would be listing of user by ID. Okay, and similarly another URL would be updating user using put type. And what you can do, you can give an ID along with a body of data that you need to update in kind of in form of JSON. And at the same time you will be needing the last delete URL that is same as the this one, but it doesn't require any kind of body in it, so I will just change it to delete t. Okay, so this is how things will work. So while testing our basic get all path, we are getting all of our data, and in order to create an other API, we will be needing an other get method, as we can just copy it here and paste it down here. Now that would contain a parameter of ID. Okay, so in order to do it, I have created another route which has ID as a parameter. So for getting this kind of ID, what we will require, we use our required param. So we will just create const here, destructure it like this, out of requirement dot params. Okay, and that param is ID. Now if I log it here ID, it will give you the proper ID of that user, and I will just use my same model dot find one, because now we are only finding one. So this is find one, and you will just give it like where colon ID is equal to your current ID that is coming from top, and we will await for its result, and const user data is equal to this, and we will just dot send our user data. Now if we save it and run it here, that would give us only user data that we need. So this is all listing is done. Similarly for user data, it is also done. At this point I will just rename it as users data, so convention is there like this, and save it. Okay, our next step would be adding data for the user. So we will just create an other, let me add my extension of Sublime shortcuts. So text key mapping, because I am fond of Sublime text, so I'm just downloading it now. If I create an other route, that is post route, right, and that is a base route, you don't need to do anything after that. So it you will be requiring first of all your body here. So I will just write it down my body out of my request param. Okay, and this body will be directly gone into our user dot create method. Okay, and in this user dot create method you will have whole of body given here, and we will just, now we are not, as you can see, we are not doing any kind of validations. That is not a part of this video, but we can do it afterwards. But for now we are just directly adding data into our db. That is not a good practice, but we will have to do it because we have to complete this video in order to create a basic grid, and then we can add validations, layers, and all that stuff. So we can do that afterwards. So for creating the user, you will give this body directly to this create method, and it will give you the response edit. Okay, and you will just send it directly to the user. So if we go back here, and I should be giving you user name. Okay, and similarly our next would be all first name. I think so I should only copy all of them instead of writing it again and again. So I will just go to my models. So first name, so I will just add these keys in start and end of each one, so it doesn't create any mess, because this is JSON and JSON should have been in kind of a string. So first name is Z, the last name should be AL, and email should be zeeshan dot gmail.com. Okay, and similarly in the password you will be getting any kind of password like 12345, and age, for example, 26, you can say 27. Okay, I'm not saving it right now. So as you can see, I have hit this URL of post because I'm posting from here, so it will go to the post and on the basic route. So it will, it is logging the complete body that you require to add into your database. Okay, so this is the body that you will be passing it on to your DB instance. So I think so if I open it, I will I will be just adding new records in here like this, you can see. So it's pretty easy adding a record. And similarly for putting a object, you have to give an ID, put function where I will be updating our object or any row. So first of all we will destruct our body and params from our request. Okay, so in from and further from params I will be restricting my ID that is coming from top, as you can see, out of params, and I can just write it equal to here. After doing that I will create a user instance and I will add a function in it, like, which is update function that is being provided by Sequelize. Okay, and we can do it like this, where id is equal to id. But before that you have to add a body param that you want to update, like this body will contain like which particular objects are, or object instances are being updated. For example, this body will contain something like this, like age is updating or anything else. So if I want to update age to 75, so what I will do here, I will await. Okay, updated, update response data. Okay, I will just add response here, and I will create a constant of the same name is equal to this one. Now if I run it, as you can see currently here, my first ID age is 55. If I run it like this, it will give me one, means that the row is updated. Now if I run it again, it is giving me 1 because for it it is always updating the field, so it is 75. So that's how you update a particular id. And at the end I am writing the delete method, which will just get id like this. I will remove this body and I will just write it here. Destroy is the function that is being provided by Sequelize to delete. So we just need to give condition here, and I will write delete response result. Okay, delete result data. So I have write down the basic delete method where we are getting our ID from our request.params, and we are providing this ID inside our where condition, that is ID should be equal to that particular ID. So that's how it will work. Now if I give it a go, like there is only two remaining in our database. If I delete it, this will be one, and this delete status I have been added by myself. It gives you only the number. So that's how you should do it. You should always give it like this, and you should give it a update status key, and you can just do it like this. Similarly for delete, now if I have deleted it, if you go to the database and refresh it, it will be deleted. So that's how your basic CRUD has been completed. Now this you can further utilize and work on it, and I will launch a series in which we will be using the same repository, and we will be extending it to the next level, to the advanced level, and we will be creating the validations, doing some extra query stuff, doing associations, and furthermore. And thank you for being in this series with me. Hope that you find it very productive in your career, and you can use this boilerplate as much as you can. And if there is anything, you can just comment it out, and I will be reading those comments, and I will be uploading this code onto the git so that you will have the direct access to it. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.